In 1956, Argentina found itself in a difficult position to repay its debts. France offered to host a meeting in Paris between Argentina and its public creditors. The Paris Club was born. For over 60 years, this informal group of creditors has been instrumental in resolving debt sovereign crises, alongside the IMF and the World Bank. Let's look back at three key moments in the history of the Paris Club over the past 2 decades. The Heavily Indebted Poor Countries Initiative. In the 1990s, a major sovereign debt crisis emerged in the poorest and most fragile countries. In response, major creditors set up the Heavily Indebted Poor Countries Initiative. With this plan, creditors agreed to relieve the debt burden of 36 countries, amounting to $120 billion. Thanks to the HIPC initiative, debt levels of the poorest countries dropped to levels similar to the 1990s. New creditors.
However, this improvement did not last. 15 years later, at the end of 2021, the debt levels of these countries tripled to reach $372 billion, a debt which was contracted with more creditors, some of which were completely new. Amongst them, China became the largest creditor in sub-Saharan Africa in just a few years. The debt levels of poor countries held by China reached 14% of their total external debt stock in 2021, from just 3% back in 2006. Developing countries also increasingly turned to private investors who were drawn by lucrative returns. The debt level held by these private investors increased tenfold between 2006 and 2021, reaching 21% of the external debt stock of poor countries. Such creditor diversity raises a coordination challenge. In the event of a debt crisis, how can the restructuring effort be equally shared between creditors?
The common framework.
In order to better coordinate debt restructurings, members of the Paris Club and non-members created a common framework for debt treatments in November 2020. In practice, Paris Club creditors and other G20 creditors sit down at the same table to negotiate. 4 countries requested a debt treatment under this framework: Chad, Ethiopia, Zambia, and Ghana. In January 2023, an agreement was concluded with Chad, which represents a major breakthrough. In our next and final video, we will go through the different steps of a debt restructuring. See you soon.